Today, I want to talk about marriages. Right now, with the market and everything, people's hours are up, their stress is higher, the financial pressure is more, and usually our relationships suffer for that. And a lot of times, I think we think that we have to do something big and grand, like you got to commit to the weekly date night, or you need to be, blowing your spouse away, or all these things that you might not have the time or the energy for, which is okay. We all have different seasons of life, but there is still something you can do in those seasons. So I want to talk about some little things that you can do just by being intentional. It doesn't take a lot of time or energy. So it's called Bids for Connection. And this comes from a book by John Gottman, which I really, really love. It's called The Seven Principles for Marriage. I'll put the link to it in the description of this video, but it is the best marriage book I've ever read. I absolutely love it. It's very practical. But one of the things he talks about is these bids for connection, and they happen all day, every day, and most of the time we don't even realize it. Sometimes they're more obvious, where your spouse might come to you and say, "Hey, I'm going to go take a walk. Do you want to go with me?" That's a pretty obvious bid for connection. There's other things, though, that we might not notice, like maybe you come home and you say, "Oh man, I had this hard, long day," and your spouse says, "You have no idea." And you're just like, "Okay, well, you either just stayed home with the kids, or my job is more stressful than yours," or whatever the case may be. People always think their problems and their stuff is harder than other people's. But to put that aside, either way, that's your spouse giving you a bid for connection. They're basically asking you to ask them about their day and care and take the time to step into their world and find out what's going on. Um, they might say something casually like, "Oh, I saw this video today," or, "Oh, this is going on with such and such." And they're basically, it's a bid for connection. Do you care enough to stop and ask, "Oh, tell me about that video," or "Show me," or "Oh, what is Susie and Bob doing?" Or whatever. It's a bid for some kind of a connection intimately in your relationship. And it's that foundation of building those that lead up to the good connection where you want to spend time together. You have things to talk about. It's because you did the work of the little bids along the way. It could be other things. I'll give you a few more examples of these bids. It could be that you're just driving down the road and your spouse is looking out the window and says, "Oh man, look at that beautiful house," or "Oh, look at that family. They just look so sweet and connected." That could be a bid for connection. They might be thinking about the future. They might think, "Oh, I really want to upgrade our house." They might be dreaming of what that next phase looks like. Or they see the family that looks like they have it all together and they're really just wanting that for themselves. So that's kind of that bid for connection of like, step into my world, to my reality. Could be seeing somebody having a vacation and they're like, "Wow, that must be nice to take a vacation." That's also a bid for connection. They're like, "Hey, stop, let's take a vacation, let's do something together." Or even the age old one I hear all the time: "You're always on your phone. Can you put your phone down?" Like, "Oh, you got to pick it up again." It's a bid for connection. They want your time, they want your attention. So instead of getting defensive about these things or brushing them off, if you just take the time to stop and really lean in instead of turning away and ignoring, those little things add up to be such a beautiful connection in your relationship. So that is my challenge for you today. Stop and really try to be intentional about seeing these bids for connection all throughout the day in your relationships, and then leaning into them. And then get that book. It is really awesome. I highly recommend it.